read a blog called The Social Media Depression about a woman named Lydia from England that decided to give up on Facebook because it affected her negatively. So she went on to Facebook and she posted that she was thinking about leaving and asked for comments on this. And she got a lot of positive responses about it. But she also got some very negative responses, such as, why delete Facebook? You can't stand the fact that some people are just more successful than others? That's so immature. Get real and start accomplishing things on your own. Maybe then you'll have something to share. And you never leave shares or never like anything, so people will hardly miss you on here anyway. So I'm thinking that these people assumed that Lydia was looking for attention and wanted to get negative responses from her. So Lydia deleted her Facebook account, and it increased her ability to respond appropriately to real-life events. Her depression and her anxiety have decreased since she got rid of Facebook, and it's been a very good change for her. So, is social media use linked to depression and anxiety? Based on the research I've done, the answer is a qualified yes. There were no studies that showed that social media causes depression and anxiety. However, there are many studies that show that there are links between the severity of depression and social media consumption. One study done by Primac, Shensa, Escobar Vieira, Barrett, and others showed that the more social media platforms a person is on, the more depression symptoms they express. And then in another study done in 2016 entitled The Association Between Social Media Use and Depression Among U.S. Young Adults, found that social media use was significantly associated with increased depression. In the book Act for Adolescence, one of the theories about depression is that people who use social media to opt out of their feelings and live interactions often feel that the people around them are not willing to interact with them. However, the opposite is often true. It may be that most of the people with increased depression were already susceptible to it. This is an area of study that might be pursued within the field of psychology in the future. A further study by Davila, Hirschenberg, Feinstein, Gorman, Bhatia, and Starr stated the idea that there is evidence that it is the quality rather than the quantity of social networking activities that is associated with depressive symptoms over time. This is an interesting idea. The idea of garbage in, garbage out might be the part of the issue here. Some theories of counseling note that people have main experiences that they use to make most of their decisions by. One licensed practicing counselor noted, "The brain also does not have a filter to tell when something is the truth and when something is a lie. Therefore, unless we personally state that what we are experiencing is a lie, we often believe what we are told on some level. Then we act as if what we experienced is true, and this might lead us to believe that we are unworthy of friends or good experiences because social media is telling us we are not good enough. Furthermore, we often compare our experiences to those on social media, often forgetting that we are only being shown of the best of the world, of their world. Then we compare that to our everyday life. Therefore, we may need to be self-censoring what we are looking at on social media. Often in our culture, we are too scared or unwilling to offend other people by defending ourselves. We allow these people to bring negative influences into our social media bubble, and we don't defend ourselves because we are too worried about offending the other person. We feel bad about ourselves because we didn't defend ourselves. Often, in the real world, when someone mistreats us, we are willing to stay out of their bubble of influence. Why then do we not do the same for social media? It is okay to block or unfriend people who are negative on social media. I have known people who only say negative things on social media, and it makes me feel bad, so I have chosen to block them. This is a form of me standing up for myself. I'm not suggesting that social media platforms are bad. They connect people to friends, family, and other loved ones across the globe. There's nothing wrong with social media when it is used in moderation. It is when a person only identifies with social media application and immerses themselves completely in that world and not the real life world that social media becomes a problem. Many people use social media platforms as an escape for the world for a few minutes. Then they go back to their real life and they move forward. I know people who are so immersed in social media, in their social media friends, that they're losing touch with reality and forgetting how to cope with in the real world. I spoke with several people, both professionals and non-professionals, about how they felt about the connection between social media and depression. For the most part, these people felt that social media is definitely connected to depression and anxiety. However, there were a few that felt differently. One licensed professional counselor I spoke to felt that only people that are already susceptible to depression and anxiety are the only ones that seem to get depression and anxiety from social media. And then I talked to a teenager, and she felt that it depended on what the person was looking at that made them become depressed or anxious. While these points may be valid based on feeling, the research shows that social media and depression are connected. Sometimes we see our social media friends and it looks like they have a perfect life, and it can just make you feel bad about yourself. We all need to remember that no one is perfect, and we are just seeing a little snapshot of their life, which they usually make to look perfect. An example of this is that my aunt and uncle recently went to Disney World with their children. In each picture, the kids' hair was perfect, and they were posed with people or characters, and everything just looked perfect, like they were having the perfect time. But with 5 children, I'm not sure this was a good representation of what exactly was going on in their vacation, because kids are usually whining or cranky because they're not getting what they want. We don't see the family squabbles like this on social media. We just see the happy family moments. People only want to show the best of themselves to the others and make themselves seem perfect. As adults, we have the right to choose how much of our time we spend on social media, be it Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, or another social media platform. We also have the right to let go of people who are not allowing us to be our best selves. At this point, you may be thinking I'm asking you to stop using social media altogether. That's not the case. I'm asking you to moderate how much social media you use. We should also be more discerning in who we choose to be in our social media bubbles. I too use social media daily, and in doing this research, I learned that I am not using social media in a way that is healthy for me. I had to reevaluate who and what I'm letting into my bubble and create some new guidelines for my own personal health. I suggest to all of you that you also reevaluate who and what you're letting into your social media bubble. Then we can choose to use social media for connections and not disconnections.